start with our big interview with this man, Lee Anderson. He quit as Deputy Chairman of the Conservative Party last week, of course, over that Rwanda bill. But according to the Daily Telegraph today, he now wishes he'd voted in favour of that bill instead of abstaining. And according to that same article, he'd also take his old job back if Rishi Sunak asked him to return. Now, I've got Lee Anderson in the studio and I've got Christopher Hope. Shall we start? Let's go straight to you.
OK.
Go straight to you. So, look, I'll read it out here. Lee Anderson says he should have voted for the Rwanda bill and he wants his old job back. Very much portrays you as going on your hands and knees, with your begging bowl out, prompting Nigel Farage to say, what on earth is Lee Anderson playing at?
Well, the Telegraph has certainly gone downhill since Chopper left. Again, misquoted. Unhappy with the article. I didn't say I wanted my own job back, Martin. The question was put to me, if Rishi came knocking on your door and asked you to come back as Deputy Chair, would you accept? I said yes. That's slightly different for me asking for my job back. The rest of the article, I mean, most of it was pretty accurate, but there's a few inaccuracies in there about the bill last week. And I mean, I've said this a few times since the bill. Look, we voted for the amendments on the bill because we didn't think the bill was strong enough. I think there were 60 of us that voted for the amendments, didn't think it was strong enough. On the following day, we had a choice. We had to either vote for a bill which we thought was weak, that could actually succeed, i.e. get flights off the ground, or vote for no bill. There was no other bill coming to Parliament. We haven't got the time in this Parliament to draft another bill and get it through the Lords. So it's vote for a bill that might work or vote for nothing. So in reality, really, instead of voting with my heart, I should have voted with my head and voted for a bill that may work and get these illegal migrants out the country and into Rwanda. That's what I said. Yeah. That's my exact words.
Now, people have been having a pop. They always do.
Fine.
I mean, that goes with the turf with you. And I know you've got a thick hide, but they're having a pop about this idea that the Labour Party were laughing at you and that caused you to change your vote. Well, so your old nickname, 30p Lee, is now being called 30p Flea.
Well, what it was, I mean, I made a deal with myself when I first got to Parliament that I would never go through the lobby with the Labour Party to vote against government. So when I was going through the lobby, it was there. You know, you've got to realise it's different for me. I had that relationship with the Labour Party, was in there, and it was an abusive relationship. And when you get there, you know, people might say I'm hot-headed, I'm impulsive, I'm whatever. I'm probably all those things. But, you know, at the end of the day, I'm a human being, and it was difficult to side with that lot against my mates who were going through the eye lobby, which, in hindsight, if I'd have been using my head, like I've just said previously, we need to get this bill to work, and defeating or killing the bill means that no flights go off at all.
So before... Chris, I know you're begging to ask questions.
Well, have you learned a lesson about politics, do you think? Yeah. Because were you a bit naive going into the lobby and you couldn't face it, you came out... So I think when we interviewed you for GBNews last Wednesday, you were shaken up.
I was upset. There's no training for this job, Chopper. You go and you vote with your heart, you vote with your head, and you have to realise that the Twitter mob may ever go at me. That's fine. I've got thick skin. I can trend all day long. It don't really bother me. But when I was politically homeless, when the Labour Party didn't want me and treated me awfully, it was the Conservative Party who approached me, wrapped their arms around me, gave me a political home, allowed me to become a Conservative councillor, gave me a job, gave me the opportunity to represent my hometown in Ashfield. So my loyalty really lies with the Conservative Party. And any beef I've got with the opposition or whoever, really, it should always come back to me putting my faith in the Conservative Party, saying thank you for giving me that home when I was homeless.
Now, today, you've put your faith in Rishi Sunak. You're trying to sweep away this mini revolt. Is it what? A one-man revolt?
I wouldn't call it a mini revolt. It's a one-man revolt, isn't it?
A one-man band is banging a drum. You're saying let's unite. However, there was a poll in the same paper today, the Telegraph, showing that if Rishi was replaced by a true blue Conservative who protected borders and all the values that I know resonate very well in Ashfield, then seats like Ashfield would have a much higher chance of being a Conservative return. So you're sticking with your man through loyalty, but would the better move for the country and for the Red Wall be to switch leaders?
I don't agree with that. That would mean 4 different prime ministers in 5 years. That's absolute madness. No, there'd be no trust in our party whatsoever if we was to swap leaders again. It is what it is. He's got a plan. You know, whether you like Rishi or not, the plan is working. The crossings are down. He's sorted out the debts. You know, inflation's down by half. It's like I say, you might not like the man, But the plan is working. So as a party, the common enemy here, Martin, for me, is the Labour Party. If they get into power in this country, I fear for the future of this country. So we need to pull together, get behind Rishi, get behind the PM, and make sure that we win the election. I still think we can win it. I really do.
Just to clarify, if you were to get Heather Wheeler, the former whip, sitting in your seat an hour ago, she was saying you should have a meeting with Rishi Sunak and lay it all out, and then sort of almost make it up there. If you were offered your job back, would you take it?
Of course I would. I mean, I've been honest. I mean, why wouldn't I want to be deputy chairman of the oldest political party in the world, a great party? You know, people started calling me a coward and all this last week. I actually voted against government, I think it was 4 times last week, and resigned my job. That's not the actions of a coward. I did that on a point of principle. But, you know, sometimes, you know, when the dust clears, when the dust settles and, you know, we can wrap our arms around each other once again and say, come on, you know, we've done this, you've had your little spat, and let's get on with the job.
But you're out there as the person who's going to take the fight to the Red Wall, you know, work with Rishi in the Red Wall. You're still doing, aren't you, around the country, you Friday night dinners with the party. I mean, will you be deployed by the party?
I've no longer got the title as deputy chairman of the party. It has made no difference to my bookings for the rest of the year. In fact, my bookings have gone up. I've become more popular all of a sudden, and more people want to see me and hear what I've got to say.
Maybe it's the wrong reason, though, Lee. They see you as a critic of the government.
Well, that may be, but, you know, I think most people find what I've got to say interesting. I've got a great Red Wall story about why I was a former Labour-supporting coal miner. Now was the deputy chairman of the Conservative Party. Still proud to be the MP for Ashfield. People want to hear that story.
Yeah. And what's interesting, like we've talked about this a couple of times, is people don't understand what it's like to vote against, against your own party. And I say that as one of the Brexit Party MEPs, and I said to you before, Chris, there were people in that party that wanted to vote against the Brexit deal because they felt it wasn't strong enough. And they had a point, and we said that at the time. But if you vote against your party, it's there forever. In history, you'd be in the same column as the Labour Party, the same column as the Liberal Democrats. So when it comes down to it, it's a lot harder than people think.
It is, Martin. You make a good point, actually. It's a good comparison with the Brexit Party. You know, in 100 years' time, my great-great-grandkids will be looking at my voting record and see my great-granddad, they voted with the Lib Dems and the Labour lot to not go for the Rwanda bill. That's what it is, basically.
It is like
exactly that.
It's that debt of history, and I know how hard it is to walk in there, and it's scary.
It is scary.
But it won't work, will it? That's the problem you've got. You voted against. You couldn't have support it because you think it won't work. So it's all. So people of Ashfield are being sold a pup essentially by.
It could work. The Rwanda bill could work. So we're clinging on to hope that it will work. The Prime Minister's promises that it will work. We've got to put our faith in him. But like I say, if the bill had been killed, Chopper, there's nothing. And the boats will just keep coming and coming and coming.
At the moment, we keep saying this again, it's like Brexit all over again. The good old days, you might say, or the bad old days. The Lords are leaping in. They're trying their best to muddy the waters, to delay it, to make sure that it's just delayed. It might go to the courts next. What's your take on how the House of Lords are behaving around Rwanda?
I think I said this to you earlier this week, Martin. The Lords, the unelected Lords, I think they would have a completely different attitude, some of them would, if they were elected, if their actual jobs depended on making the right decision. It's all right for them, the clergy and the church, and they're pontificating and thinking they're doing the moral high ground. Like I said Monday, Archbishop of Canterbury's got a big pad over there. It's what's it called? Lambeth Palace.
Yeah, Lambeth Palace.
I walk past that most days. Get them in there, these illegal migrants, straight on the bus, put them in Lambeth Palace. He'll be singing a different tune then.
One idea. I mean, I think he has taken in some Ukrainian refugees.
Okay, it's a very big argument, yeah.
Yeah, well, bear in mind they're a completely different type of refugee, though. It's like women and children fleeing Ukraine, because the men, of course, as we've talked about, they've all been conscripted. They're not allowed to leave the country. They have to fight. So in terms of this leadership battle, is it going to fizzle out? Are you going to get back with Rishi, make up, and are you going to get back as the party deputy chairman? Because people, I think, want that to happen.
Well, I don't know about the deputy chairman. I mean, I've been a bad boy, haven't I, over the past week. I've voted against government, spoken up against the bill. Look, I'm here to make sure our party wins the next general election, whether that's with a job title. It doesn't really matter to me. I didn't get paid for the role. It was a voluntary role. It was at my own expense, travelling up and down the country. So, I mean, I want to see a better country for my children, and hopefully one day get grandchildren. I don't see that under a Labour government. The best way to do it is for me, is a Conservative government. We're not perfect. We've got to get things right, but it's up to people like me to try and shape what happens in the future.
Chris?
And to clarify, yes or no, you're not going to join the Reform Party between now and the election?
No. Is that a straight enough answer?
Well, you were asked about that in this Telegraph article. You said no then. I know you said no repeatedly in the past. It won't stop the kind of...
Well, I'll ask you a question, Chopper. What's the Reform Party ever done for Ashfield?
Well, not much. Didn't exist, did it?
Nothing.
At the last
Brexit
election.
Party put me up as a candidate.
Yeah, but what's the Brexit Party or UKIP or Reform ever done for Ashfield?
It's a pressure group on the Tory party.
It's a pressure group. It's a pressure group.
And that's why you feel you can't join it even though...
It's a pressure group. They're never going to win a seat, we know that. Our electoral system doesn't allow them to win a seat. It's got to be PR. And look what you get if you get PR. Imagine, Chopper, if we've got proportional representation and you've got some of the old lunatics like Corbyn step up and he gets in with Khan and Mick Lynch, they form their own political party. That's 40 seats over in that place, then the Lib Dems and the Greens. It would totally annihilate democracy in this country.
But Nigel Farage might get 50 or 60 seats as well, though.
Yeah, but what good is that if you've got Corbyn with 50 seats and you've got the Greens with 50 seats and the Lib Dems with 50 seats? You turn out to be a democracy like Italy where you can't get anything done. And the smallest party has the balance of power.
What's the fallout been since last Wednesday? Has Rishi Sunak not returned your phone calls? Have you been aired to use the vernacular of the?
My colleagues, the one when I was in the Labour Party, Chopper, if you disagreed with your colleagues, they hated you and never spoke to you again. In the Conservative Party, it's completely different. You disagree, you fall out, and at the end of the night, you go out for a pint, and it's forgotten about. And that's how it should be. That's, for me, it's like when I worked down the pit. You could argue with people, black and blue, in the daytime, but at night time, you shake their hand and go for a drink. And that's, for me, in the Conservative Party, that's what it's like. It is just like that.
OK. We'll leave it there. Anderson, superb. Thanks for coming in. Well, feisty words there. You've got a message for Nigel Farage, actually, because he said to you, what are you playing at? What do you want to say to him? What are you playing at?
Well, I think Nigel should spend less time in America, in the shadow of Trump, and get back over here and campaign for what he believes in.
There you go.
There you go, Nigel.
Heard it here first.